Agree with many of things that you say right ahead of this, but I don't think that's my point to discuss here. What I want to ask you, are I'm married to a woman who is not Christian in her Wikipedia. I just looked that up. I wanted to know what her faith was. I didn't know this before it, but she still calls herself Hindu. You are rising to kiss three kids in a terrestrial, cultural, racial, religious household. How are you maintaining, or how are you teaching your kids to not to keep your religion ahead of their mother's religion? Or how are you teaching them that you're kind, they are that kind, who got here just few years or few hundred years, few decades ago is different, is better than your mom kind, who got here just a generation before. How are you balancing that? And when you talk about too many immigrants here, what is when did you guys decide that number? Why did you sell us a dream? You make us spend our youth, our wealth in this country and gave us a dream. You don't own us anything. We have worked hard for it. Then you as a vice president stand there and say that you have too many of them now, and we are going to take them out to people who are here rightfully, so by paying the money that you guys are sirs. You gave us a path, and now how can you stop it and tell us we don't belong here anymore? And one more thing, I'm sorry, one more thing, do you have to be this Lord there? I don't know if I'm going to remember on this, but I will try. I'm sorry. I had to say on of this, and please take it with you. I mean, I'm saying on of this, go ahead. I have no attention of courses or scene here or anything, but you're not close to courses or scene. Don't worry. But we talk about Christianity, all of this. I'm not even Christian, and I'm here standing to support. Why are we making Christianity one of the major thing that you have to have in common to be one of you guys, to show that you love America just as you do? What is that still a question? Why do or do I have to be a Christian? Or okay, so I think words a lot, and I'm going to try to respond to as much of it as can. So on the question of immigration. So first of all, I can believe that we should have lower immigration levels. But if the United States pass a law and make a promise to somebody, the United States, of course, has to honor that promise. Nobody is talking about that. I'm talking about people who came in violation of the laws of the United States of America. And I'm talking about the filter reducing the number of people. Sorry, what? May I continue on that? Because when you just said you are not stopping with the people who came here legally, right? But you are pushing out policies that hurt us, and these policies are not even solving problems. These policies are just creating No, madam. Okay, so again, I'm going to finish answering the question, and then if you know, if I've answered or not of your questions in less than 15 minutes, then we can keep on going. Where we got to have a little fun, right? So here's the thing. I can't believe that the United States should lower its levels of immigration in the future while also respecting that there are people who have come here through immigration paths. Law of immigration pathways that have contributed to the country, but just because one person or 10 people or 100 people came illegally and contributed to the United States of America, does that mean what we are thereby committed to let in a million or 10 million or 100 million people are here in the future? No, that's not right. We cannot have I'll go and finish. We cannot have an immigration policy when what was good for the country 50 or 60 years ago lies the country inevitably for the future. There's too many people who want to come to the United States of America, and my job as vice president is not to look out for the interest of the whole world. Is to look out for the people of the United States. You ask a personal question about your interfaith household, and yes, my wife didn't grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family, but not a particularly religious family in either direction. In fact, when I met my wife, we were both, I would consider myself an agnostic or an atheist, and that's what I think she would have considered herself as well. Everybody has to come to their own arrangement here. The way that we've come to our arrangement is she's my best friend. We talk to each other about this stuff, so we've decided to raise your kids Christian. Our two oldest kids who go to school, they go to Christian school. Our 8-year-old did his first communion about a year ago. That's the way that we have come to our arrangement, but thank you. My 8-year-old was also very proud of his first communion. Thank you guys. I'll tell them that I'll witness them the best, but I think everybody has to have this own conversation when we are in a marriage. I mean, it's true for friends of mine who are in a Protestant and Catholic marriages, friends of mine who are in ethics and Christian marriages. You just got to talk to the only advice you can give is just got to talk to the person that God has put you with, and you've got to make those decisions as a family unit. For us, it works out. Now, more Sundays, you Sarah will come with me to church, as I've told her and I've said publicly. And I've said now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends. Do I hope eventually that she's somehow moved by just something that I was moved in by chance? Yeah, honestly, I do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't Then, since everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause the problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love. Again, one of the most important Christian principles is that you respect free will. Your share is closer to the Brias who baptized me than maybe I am. Can talk about my stuff. My attitude is you figure this stuff out as a family and you trust in God to have a plan and you try to follow it as best as you can. And that's what I try to do. I want to make a final point, so I don't want to cut off. I want to be respectful to all the people behind you in life, but you want to make this point about immigration. Okay, if you ask the question, what is the exact right number of immigrants for the United States to let in? It just varies specific on the context. If you go back to the 1920, the United States passed an immigration reform act that effectively cut the immigration to close to zero for 40 years in this country. And what happened over those 40 years? The many people who had come many different foreign countries and different foreign cultures, they assimilated into American culture, and there was an expectation that they would assimilate into American culture. I think we have two problems in our immigration systems today. My guess is you're probably a slightly more leftist political persuasion, liberal political persuasion, maybe not. But here's the thing, I remember back in my establishment GOP days when I was still very early getting involved in Republican politics. I remember a conservative think person who told me that one of the reasons why immigration was really good is that if you had enough diversity in a country, people would mistrust each other and they wouldn't join labor unions. Okay, so when I see a lot of left wing people who theoretically support organized labor, saying we need to flood the country with a limitless number of immigrants. They are willing to set any limitations on it. My response to that is you are destroying the very social terms on which American freedom and prosperity was built, and that's really important to me. So the honest answer to your question, what is the exact number of immigrants America should accept in the future? Right now the answer is far less than we've been accepting. We've got to become a common community again, and you can't do that when you have such high numbers immigration, which of one of the reasons why we have immigration policy we do. Thank you.